The road to PyeongChang continues in the oldest sliding venue on the planet. It hosted the 1928 and 1948 games. It is the oldest, most historic, and still the only natural track in use. Welcome to round 7 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. We're in historic St. Moritz in Switzerland. Hello everybody, welcome to Paradise. Martin Haven and John Morgan at every slider's favourite track.
Well, Martin, we like to say this is the cathedral of our sliding sports. That's the historical venue that they've been sliding on for over 100 years. The track gets rebuilt, not exactly the same, but pretty close. So the track records all represent from this season. This little curve one, boy, that little chink curve could cause a lot of problems. It's a shorter start than last week at Altenburg. The athletes have to get in, get down quickly, and take advantage of this long straightaway acceleration point now into the wall. Some of these curves have got names that are 100 years old. Snake, 2-quarter combination, little right. Snake, 2 left. Sunny, no sun on it today, a little overcast, but the sun will come. Nash and Dixon, named after the British bobsledders who won the '64 Olympic Games gold medal in Innsbruck. They're members of the St. Moritz Bobsled Club. Horseshoe, the most famous curve in the world. Telephone, Shamrock, Devil's Dyke. Now we're reaching 75 miles an hour. Watch out for this little nameless curve. That little curve there is causing a lot of problems for people in the bridge curve. Now they get into the near 90 miles an hour, 86, 87 today. Gunnar Sachs, long straightaway into Martineau, named after the founder of the St. Moritz Bobsled Club. Into the finish now, Portago. It's a minute 8, minute 6. Usually they're sliding 52 seconds, extra 14 seconds or so sliding. There's not a more historic venue in sport around the planet. And I think in all sports.
I challenge you to find a better looking one as well.
This one too.
Kaylee Humphries is our World Cup points leader after 6 of 8 races, ahead of Jamie Grubel-Poser, last year's World Cup champion, and Alana Myers-Taylor third. And look how close some of the points gaps are. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Misha Menil, Sabina Hafner battling to be the top single nation entry. Brittany Reinbold and Christine de Bruyn are 4 points apart, and whichever one of them finishes ahead today guarantees their nation a third sled and themselves a spot in the games.
They're racing a spot to march in the Olympic parade. Unbelievable. Pressure, temperature is perfect.
Yeah, it's cold out, -8. Ice is -8. Warming up from the overnight low of about -12.
Mariana Jamaica.
Yeah, Yamanka is close to Alana Myers-Taylor.
Russia's got a little race within a race too.
Yeah, they are 2 points apart, the Russian drivers. Andrea Grecu kicks off our 23 sleds. The fastest 20 go through into the second heat. And in normal track operations, the earlier you go, the better, the fresher the ice, the faster it is. Here, it's just the opposite as that overnight low goes. When you walk around here in night, and all the pavements are compacted snow, they're solid ice, but it's grippy, it's sticky. You don't slip until the middle of the afternoon. So the frost will take its time to come off. You can see the sun only just on the peaks of the mountains there, some 2,500 meters above sea level. Andrea Grecu and Beatrice Puiu of Romania get our 7th Bobsleigh World Cup underway for women's bob. This is historic St. Moritz. Over 100 years they've been sliding from St. Moritz down to the village of Celerina through this little woodland path, and it is still the greatest show on earth.
She's had a really good season. She's made the cut in every race. 15th, I think, was her best.
In fact, she had an 11th place finish in Winterberg, so that was a really star day for her. Take a look at the speeds as well. 5:73 the start. It is a short start, as you said, John, and you've got to carry that momentum and then do nothing. No steering until you get to wall, otherwise you just wipe away all your speed.
And she's had a pretty good year. She's young. She's only 25 years old.
Did 2 or 3 World Cup races last year as a driver, the rest as a brakewoman, and this year they've separated her out into her own sled. She's really starting to respond well.
She's a tall athlete, she's a 100-meter sprinter.
Down to Horseshoe, the most famous corner on the planet, through Telephone, right-handed at Shamrock.
She's going first, Mark, which is such a distinct disadvantage. Everything is thrown out the window with the draw here.
101.3, that's good speed. That's already 63 miles an hour.
Now it's so smooth. The athletes are sliding here. We heard yesterday Elizabeth Vachi say when she's a skeleton athlete going down the track, she can hear the announcer give her her start time.
Well, Andrea Greco, for the first time in her life, sets a new track record, as you said. The track is hand-built every year, and like a hand-built pair of shoes, it is utterly unique. So the track record is set when they open the track. It was set again in the Swiss Championships 2 weeks ago.
I bet you we have 10 track records in the first heat. There's more.
Well,
let's mark it down.
Exactly right. Well, there you go. You've got to take them while they're there. Andrea Greco sets the mark. 5:73 start. We'll see several sleds go quicker than that.
Start. You have to get in, get down quicker, because this little straight wall here, curve one, it's a straight wall, and it puts a lot of pressure. You saw the articulation of the challenge split, and that's a lot of pressure going around that little straight wall.
She got her feet hooked up trying to climb in, so that slowed her down. Next up, Konomi Asazu. She and teammate Maria Oshigiri
we don't know.
Are likely not to qualify 2 sleds, may possibly qualify 1. Again, the rules are a little bit complicated.
This is the better of the 2 sleds. She finished 7th in the World Championships last year. Astonished everybody, but they haven't had any kind of year since because the brakeman's been hurt, hamstring issues. The brakeman's a top sprinter out of Japan. It's get down quicker. This is not like Altenberg. You probably waited 4 more steps. You saw the brakeman in there quicker. Good. Boy, but she's 10 hundredths behind the Romanians. This is not the same start team these 2 had last year. These 2 are a lot slower than last year at the start.
Konomi Asazu into the first corner of Note Wall. You see they go up on a pressure, and then there's a second pressure as well. It sort of bumps you back up again.
Watch the back end of the sled here, the snake. Now the Sunny. Now this little Nash and Dixon for skeleton athletes were hitting there on the entrance to Nash. And then we saw the skeleton athletes were having a lot more problems coming down that straightaway. Looked a little early here. Speed 109, so she's off and she's got a skid.
She's skidded out of Telephone in Shamrock. Now you get to the fast 4 corners here. Bridge, Tree, Leap, and Gunter Saxon. Leap, the third of them, is sort of flat in the middle, pushes you away to the driver's right just when you want to be hanging out late into Sax.
It's 85.1 miles an hour.
4 km/h slower than the Romanian, so Andrea Greco's track record stands for at least 2 minutes until the next sled gets down to the bottom, so 109.66. Don't forget, 3 of the sleds we're going to see here won't get through into the second heat. And chances are it may be among the first 3 sleds because they're going earliest, the track will be slowest.
The worst absolute draw. Sled went way up, way past where they're supposed to stop the sled. This could delay. Here's our pictures in horseshoe, medium-high line. And look at the runner tip. She dives out here too quick, I think. Doesn't take all of that acceleration point. Ooh, and that's how late she is. So she got out of there late. 2 corners later, that's the highest sled we've seen in a long time in that part of the track.
So Konomi Asazu, second down. Next up, Maria Oshigiri. She's got Mariko Morimoto behind her again. She will be battling with her own teammates to make it into the second heat. Gets her in a little quicker than the last 2 drivers. 5:69, fastest we've seen so far. And the speed.
She's turned here. Oh, there you go.
Whoa!
Mistake. You just can't do that up there. That's like throwing out a parachute.
There's so little speed, so little G-forces there that the sled just slides around under you.
The drivers describe it, you have to feather your way through there.
You daren't breathe in or breathe out, because that might be enough to make the sled break into a skid. Out of Nash and Dixon, little tap.
Medium high line, just like her teammate, but not as late as her teammate.
No, gets a good exit.
117 is decent speed.
She's faster than the Romanian sled at this stage, still in the green, off a quicker start, 1300s up. Romanians had 138 kilometers at the bottom.
Well, at this pace, this is another track record.
Yep. Whoa!
Maybe not. Yes, it is. It will be a track record.
137.8 is not 85 for speed. Oh, and a little rub Nash to Dixon, it'll be close. 1200s in.
So there's number 2.
Hans Wimmer, the coach, shakes his head.
With all those mistakes, she's doing pretty good. Oshigiri was the...
Yeah. But then she could have been maybe a quarter of a second quicker as well. And particularly that long skid down the far straight, you think, oh.
Listen to her.
Yeah.
Well, this got to be worth 2/10.
Yeah, pings the wall.
1, 2. Look at the rudder tips. She's still skidding it. 3. And then down here, this is long straightaway into Kreisel. That tap didn't help. And then this is in the speed part. This is a super speedway. And that's the super speedway part of the track.
Christina Hengster with Val Kleiser behind her. Val Kleiser's birthday just a couple of days ago, same day as Elfia Willemsen on Thursday.
Val, weightlifter. Christina, as experienced a pilot as you get in the field, just has had a subpar year. Started off crashing in Lake Placid. Whoa, that shocked everybody. Look how low she is. Look at she's a tall girl. She's not small. She's got her eyes barely above the cowling. Sometimes you see people duck their heads up there at that part of the track.
Yeah.
100 here, 100 there, it all adds up.
Well, she's 500s back, 700 slower at the start than Maria Oshigiri of Japan, who's the current leader, but she should have no problems in putting it behind. Gets a good run down into Horseshoe. Oh, nice height in Horseshoe, very good.
102.1, yeah, you can see it. She had that high line, and then she's slingshot effect in the telephone, and now this speed track, the sled's just start to moan.
Listen to the sled. Normally you hear it thunder along, and you will next week in the concrete channel.
This is flying. She can get 139.3, 86.5 mile an hour. Another track record from a
by a big margin, yeah.
Okay, they'll take that.
That's a really good run from Christina Hengster and Valerie Kleiser. It's only second start this season, I think, for Val Kleiser. Sana Decker retiring a couple of weeks ago. She said she's now done with bobsled and she's going to go on and continue with the rest of her life.
How close she is to hitting the lip. But that was
line.
Great speed. You got to be a daredevil to get up there. Let it go. And then the crossover into telephone, the back end of the sled, it's just a slingshot.
Well, next up is our double Olympic champion. Last year's silver medalist on this track, but Kaylee Humphries has had 3 wins already, including last weekend in Altenburg.
Felicia George on the back now, second week in a row. George's track and field background with the Rio and London Games.
Kaylee Humphries, a new start record this season.
That's huge. That's 2/10 ahead of Hengster.
Won the World Championship in 2013.
Back there.
Yeah, Felicia is a very tall athlete.
Back there. I'm sure the Canadians will pick up on that.
Kaylee's had 2 wins here, 2013, 2014. And then she took silver last year, bronze the year before. Only February 2015 when she was off the podium here in the last 6 years.
She was testing a sled earlier in the week.
Yeah, brand new sled made in Canada.
102.
Only 4 turns.
Not the speed though. She's gonna, she'll accelerate away probably. Not the speed of Hengster, but she had a lower line. 37 is coming back. That lower line, she's gonna come back a little bit, but Hengster was flying on the bottom part of the track.
Both of them
efficient start time.
Both of them in the same sled, BTC sled built in Latvia. Well, Christina Hengster 139.3. It will be a track record by some margin.
2/10 back. She beat Christina Hengster by 2/10 at the start. 2100s, only 19 at the bottom on a track where you go 108. And so Christina lost some time back there, or Kaylee lost some time back to Christina.
She's going with a tried and tested sled.
George is just, she's a newbie.
She's come on so strong this season. This is her first year on ice.
It's only her second start. Look how tall she is. Watch her get in the sled now. This is, get in, get down, with your arms coming up the same way together. You can see she's not comfortable getting in the sled yet. That's the technique. Takes about 100 dry land trainings, and then you got to bring it out to the track.
Kaylee Humphries leads. First 5 sleds down here in sunny St. Moritz. Jeopardy now for Brittany Reinbold to the USA. She is in a battle with Canada's Christine de Bruyne, who comes up in 3 sleds. They are separated by 4 points, and whichever one finishes in front of the other here, A, qualifies qualifies a third sled for their nation, and as a result, B gets themselves into the game.
Start time, but she just erased it all. With that. Oh, this is not a good line either. Oh, she's unbelievable that Asia Evans can take Brittany Reinbold and beat Kaylee Humphries at the start like that. Wow.
That's why Asia's on the back of the sled today, to give Brittany the best possible shot of getting a third sled for the US
and
to
she's
get
already
the game.
sevens back.
Only 700s behind the double Olympic champion.
Yeah, but she's going to lose more. She's going to need 102 speed here to match anybody at the bottom. What
she needs to do is not worry about Kaylee.
101.9, same speed as Humphries.
All she's got to do is worry about Christine de Bruyne. That's the only other sled in the race for her.
She'd be leading if she didn't have that mishap in curve 1.
She is 900ths of a second off the double Olympic champion. Well, that's the push away from Wall. Okay, so
it's pretty good. 138.7's great speed. This is pretty good considering the mishap in the first 50 meters. Wow. Schuyler, you gotta love that. Come on, Brian Schuyler. That was, for all the mistakes up and down that track, and Brittany Reinbold's coming off Altenburg, Germany, where she crashed 4 consecutive times in practice. Didn't compete in the race. She had a huge lead over Christina de Bruyne. Now it's game on here for a spot on the Olympic team. She didn't help here.
All right, so she is obviously nervous, but the run she's just laid down throws down the gauntlet for Christina de Bruyne.
She would have been the leader by 2/10 if she didn't make that mistake. And then here, she crashes here into the wall hard.
Yeah.
That's
off Wall into Sachs. That's the big problem. Listen, they're so fired up. Now, Stephanie Snyder, we were saying last week, okay, Germany, the first nation to qualify 3. No. If Snyder crashes and the other 2 finish in the top 10, then Snyder and Germany don't get a third sled. Or 7th place is only once out of the top 10, and that was in Winterberg. This is, I think, Heather Moyse's 4th start in the last 4 years in the Bobsleigh.
1700s is a bad 128's excellent.
3rd place at the moment, ahead of Kaylee Humphries, her teammate.
Kaylee went early.
She's been behind.
This is pretty good. This is any kind of good speed down here. This could be a top 3.
She's behind the 2 Germans, but Kaylee in 3rd, 600ths off the lead. Here we go.
She's coming close, single digits.
How close will she get? She comes to the line. And 2/10 back.
Awesome.
Second place, I know, Rush.
This is what the track's doing. The sun's coming up outside our window now. The sun is coming up from behind the mountains. Deficient start time, not deficient, 6th best start. She drove herself into that position.
Yeah, that was a good run. Nice height, didn't hit the woodwork.
Well, after seeing what Yamanka did, you want to go and hit the lip. How much was that worth?
Yeah, that's probably a 10th there.
Watch her get pushed to the middle, but she didn't panic there. It looks like she got in pretty good on that takeout.
Good run from Alicia Rissling, 2nd place, splitting the Germans. Well, here is our 3rd German sled of the morning, Anna Kohler, with Erlina Nolte behind her.
First time we've seen her start.
Yeah, I did. First time, I think, maybe since even Christmas. So, Nolte in behind.
Watch out for this young lady. Look how smooth she was around the first curve. She's way back, 564. Her velocity was very good, though, entry into the sled.
She is the 2nd place to the Germans, just behind Mariama Yamanka in the World Cup points. Marianka with 2 bronzes, Kohler 1. She was in the bronze medal position last week in Altenburg.
She's been coming on.
Germany have got such a strong young team.
Boy, she got really beat up on the snake toe.
Oh,
look at, she's still got a problem going. That all started in snake 1, snake 2. She still hasn't corrected.
She's got to get it sorted out because Horseshoe's waiting.
Snake 1, snake 2. Oh. 150 yards, 200 yards later, she's still having issues.
Yeah, she hasn't got enough control.
No, speed wasn't there. But
it's skidding everywhere, and that's really unusual here. The ice is still cold and frosty.
Now we're talking about, she's down there behind Jamie Grubel-Poser now.
At the moment, she's
9th place.
Only just ahead of Maria Oshigiri of Japan.
137.9. This is going to be a very disappointed young German athlete who medaled last weekend, correct?
Yeah, bronze last week. I'm not sure how many races she's ever done in St. Moritz. She might have been here once before. This might be her very first time. So Anakola has a little bit of a wild ride. And, you know, that just underlines how hard it is to look as perfect as all the others. Yeah.
Let's see what she's... German coach, you get out of the way. Watch this, snake. Oh, she just pulled it out too quick. Skid into Sunny. Well, she's not done there. Now, bang out of Sunny, much like the skeleton athletes did yesterday. Still got a wrong side of the curve going into Dixon, and now she's skidding under the most challenging curve in the world, horseshoe.
She has done 2 Europa Cup race weekends here, so she's got a bit of experience on the track, but nothing like the experience of somebody like Alana Myers-Taylor, who was a brake woman before she even started driving. Alana won with all 3 Joneses, with Brianna, with Kerry, and with Lolo Jones last year.
But she has not won a race this year. I think she's going to lick her chops here. This could be in the 40s. And this is important for Lolo Jones. This is about Olympic selection here. This is some huge heat.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Most importantly, Alana Myers has to learn how to win again. She's not won this year. She won 4 times last year.
She's won twice on this track in succession. 5:49. It doesn't matter. It might be 100th that gets you to the games. And Lolo Jones pushes Alana to a great start.
Now, no mistakes allowed. The German sleds flew up here, so she's in red numbers. So she's already lost her 600th lead on Jamaica, or 100th lead on Jamaica, plus 7 back. The German sleds had some kind of afterburner up in the 150, 200 meter part of the track. 102.7, give her a chance. Low. 9 back.
All right, she's still at 103.6. That's astonishing.
Yeah. So now we're going to see some maybe green here at the bottom if she keeps it in line. Down to 1. This is going to be the leader at this pace.
If she's got 140 kilometers, A, that's insane, and B, she will set a new track record.
Oh, she's clean there.
140.7.
Ridiculous speed, Alana Myers. Track record.
87.5 miles an hour, 107.87.
Something to be happy about.
And so will Lolo Jones. That was a big start from the 2 of them, and that was a great drive from Alana Myers.
That sets up Alana Myers. She needs a first place to go into the Olympic Games.
Wow.
She has been slumping. Last year, average finish 1.5. This year, closer to 3. 11th place she had last week in Altenburg. Low line here on the horseshoe telephone, but that
look
line there,
at
the
that.
speed. Look at Scheimer. Look at him drive. He's driving it himself. Mike Dion on the left, Scheimer on the right. Long-time U.S. coaches.
Big run from Alana Myers-Taylor and Lolo Jones. They lead the field.
Big Russian contingent. I've never seen the red jackets.
No, me neither. Well, this is Alexandra Rodionova of Russia.
This is basically for Russia #1 in the Olympic Games. The 2 Russian sleds are so close to each other.
2 points.
2 points.
2 points.
7 races. It's ridiculous. And don't think there's not pride into being Russia 1 or Russia 2.
Yeah.
Nice. 570. Good. Nice around the first curve.
Yep.
Velocity 54.3. I didn't see what Myers's was. I think it was 55.6.
Well, that's 33.7 miles an hour. Fastest actually out of the first corner still is Mariami Amanka. But everywhere else, Alana Myers has the top speed. 85.7, which is 53.2. Alana Myers, 54.6 miles an hour.
Kilometer down, a mile an hour plus down.
That's a big margin.
Real high late there, really high into the...
Nice smooth exit though.
Way back, 101.5.
Right, well now she's going to end up struggling to be in the top 10.
Yeah, she's at the 10th magic mark. Former luge athlete. Then out on this quad, turned into being a bobsledder. Russians had a lot of promise for her, but doesn't get the starts. 138.5.
10th place at the line. That's going to be ahead of Germany's Anakola and behind Jamie Grubel-Poser. There's Alexander Zubkov, the head of the Russian Bobsleigh Federation.
I think he sort of says what he feels right there.
Yeah.
You know, the women's bobsledding in Russia has not gone forward as quickly as the men's program did. The program, Valera Lenchenko sort of launched the program for Zubkov. Look at the brakeman here. Oh, she struggled coming out of the blocks.
Yeah, wasn't the cleanest hit.
she can get in, get down. Let's watch the arm movement. Oh yeah, look how efficient she was in the sled, but struggled coming off that block.
Well, we talked about how close it is between the two Russians, and they are coming up nose to tail. Rodionova with the tiniest of point leads over her more experienced bobsleigh teammate, Nadezhda Sergeva.
Oh, these two didn't get off the block.
Wasn't a good hit, was it?
Wasn't a good hit. Of course, the brakeman's about 21. She's also about 6'2". She's a track and field athlete. Not a bad start.
5:57. That's 1300s quicker than their teammates.
55.1 velocity is excellent too. So maybe this Russian sled with the better start.
6th fastest start. Her teammate was 11th fastest. So she's got a big slice of speed in hand.
To the wall. Snake 1, Snake 2, Sunny. Now let's watch her, Nash and Dixon. Does she tap left? No. Watch the back end of the sled here, left side. Yes, good. Straight away here on the left side. Good. High. No. Low. Ooh, too late in there. 2100's back, 102 speed. I was a little critical of her lines, but she's got a good run going.
5th place at the moment on the splits.
4/10, lost a lot of time back there. I didn't like her line at the exit of Horseshoe. Too low, too late. Tap there's not going to help.
She's ahead of Kaylee Humphries, or she's just dropped behind the Olympic champion now. 10 sleds later in the run.
5th.
There you go. She is in front of Kaylee Humphries.
2 claps from Zubkov. That's pretty good.
Right, she's 5th, her teammate's 11th. That's exactly what Sergeva needed in the first heat.
She's tied with Kaylee Humphries.
Tied with Humphries, is she? Okay, there you go.
Their start time, though, I'm most impressed. I'm impressed with their start time. They haven't done that all year.
Yeah.
So this young 6'2" brakeman. Look how late she is here, though. Watch the sled come back up a little bit. On the wrong side of that straightaway. You shouldn't be close to that right wall. Yeah. You should be coming over the left wall on the takeoff. So look how late she gets. Look how she's coming to the middle of the telephone. That's where the speed is. That's where you want to accelerate. And down there in this speed, 85 plus miles an hour, you don't want to tap.
Right, I got my points wrong. She's 8 points behind, but
terrible.
If she finishes in front of her teammate, she'll be Russia 1. Alana Myers-Taylor, the leader, from Mariama Yamanka and Alicia Rissling. 16th of our 23 starters is our second Austrian sled, Katrin Beil, with multiple record holder Victoria Hahn. She's a huge weightlifter in Austria.
Ooh, too much pressure in that first curve. Way off the pace. Look at the start velocity, 54.4. That's a half a mile an hour down to the best teams. But Katrin Beil has had a good season. She won a couple events in the Europa Cup, and then came out in the first event we saw her in Winterberg and got a 5th. We were shocked.
And she will go to the games. There are 4 nations that get 2 sleds, either USA or Canada, whichever doesn't get 3. Russia are locked into 2. Austria have 2, and Belgium will likely qualify 2 as well. But Katrin Beil right now should join a teammate in the games.
Speed, 102.8, excellent speed. Without this bad foot problem she had last year, she would have been better. Her foot problem improved. She had some surgery, but she's still not 100%. She's just got an outside toe problem that she gets away with. But deficient starts, 13th best
at the bottom.
Huge speed at the bottom.
86.2 miles an hour.
With confidence.
8th place.
Hey, they'll take that.
And teammate Christina Hengster, who went very early, is in 10th.
1000s behind.
Yeah.
So this shows you the advantage of going late. But she had good speed.
Yeah, good lines, great driving.
What is?
So top 8, can't argue with that from the junior of the Austrian drivers.
13th best start, and this didn't help the equation.
But look, she managed to keep it away from ping-ponging down the straight.
I didn't like this, though. See, she hit the takeout a little too early.
Yeah.
Didn't like those lines, and of course, the picture tells the story there. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Still had good speed every place.
Always big smiles from them. Alfie Willemsen, birthday in training on Thursday. The track announcer sang happy birthday to her at the start, and all the girls who were down at the bottom sang happy birthday to her down there as well. She didn't quite know what was going on.
It's such a small family, this sport.
Yeah.
Okay,
now she's got a new brake woman, Shana van Heen, on the back. Shana hasn't done many starts. Sarah Ertz is resting up.
Okay, not a very good start. We expect that. Good exit out of 1. Start velocity. With that start time, 54.6 is not a bad velocity.
And look at the runners tracking dead straight down the middle of the track.
Look how big those eyes are.
If there's one place where the start doesn't matter so much, it's here. And this is where Alfia should be able to drive herself into the top half dozen.
She is a speed merchant. That doesn't get great starts, but finds a way to get her sled super speeds on the bottom. And let's see if a perfect run here, she could impress. Nice and high. Perfect. Speed 102. 102.9.
16th at the start. She's up to 12th position.
Here she comes.
She should be in the top half dozen by the bottom. 10th place now.
Clean. She's clean down here. Look at her shoulders, the way she rides in the sled. 70.
140.2 kilometers an hour.
Does that speed like that?
5th place. There you go. Off what? The 16th fastest start. There's Sarah Ertz at the top of the track.
There's why we call her a queen of speed. She's famous for doing that.
The longer the track, the more corners, the better she'll be.
6th in Sochi. You give her a start time 10/100ths quicker, she challenges for the podium every time out.
Well, they're resting Sarah Ertz so she's fit for the games because they'll need the start there a little more than they do here in St. Moritz. That's a great drive.
Well, just getting around the first curve was impressive.
Now then, the first nation that will earn 1 sled is Korea. The host nation gets 1 by rights. The second nation, currently to earn 1 spot, Great Britain's Misha McNeil and Mika Moore. So they are the top single nation ahead of Switzerland's Sabine Hafner. But again, it's a tiny points margin between the two of them. Misha McNeil, 744 points. Sabine Hafner, 742 points.
Their last time out in Altenburg last week, they were flying and then they crashed down a curve 13-14. These two diminutive athletes are pretty resilient.
Yep.
They've had a tough season upside down, and they're here. Look how low she sits in the sled.
Now, what she can't do is be stressed about this race at all. They've got a spot in the games unless there's an utter disaster. So, yeah, be as safe as you like. Just enjoy the view. Just have a good race.
She gets to the bottom in this. No, she gets in the bottom of the top 20. She's locked into the games no matter what happens in the second run.
13th at the start, up to 10th place.
That's pretty good lines to do that up there. High 102 speed will give her a chance.
Now again, you said the crash last week. If she gets a nice drive
really
here,
102.9.
that'll really
excellent. Well, this could be a mixture of the track speeding up, but you still got to drive and not make mistakes like that. That was before the nameless curve.
It's pushed away a little in wall. No skid down the straight.
6th right now. 5th. 139.3. This is great.
Where's she going to finish? Ahead of Alfia Willemsen? She is by a 10th, 1200ths of a second. So top 5. Lee Johnson, the coach there, very happy with that.
That secures her spot in the Olympic Games. That's going to put her in the, no matter what happens in the second run. For what these two have been through, self-funded before the season, had to raise their own money. Didn't have a great early part of the season. They had some pretty good results, but a lot of crashes.
Well, that's the confidence builder they need, isn't it?
And the pictures, look at this tap here. This is up out of, I think, Devil's Dyke. This is into bridge. Look at the skid. Watch the runner tips here. Look at her eyes. This is at 85 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It looks easy.
Now, we talked about her versus the Swiss being 2 points apart. Where's Sabine Hafner? Oh, there she is. Look, right behind with Evelyn Rebsamen. So the firecracker is going to earn herself a place in the game.
Watch out. She's going to have one of the worst starts. But watch out if she puts a clean run down like Elfie Willemsen. This young lady knows how to drive this track. I think she won a World Cup race here between 6 and 10. 54.6 is pretty good velocity with that deficient start.
She just outstarted Elfie Willemsen, who's 5th or 6th.
But she had the same velocity as Elfie.
Outstarted her by 1,300. She outstarted Misha McNeil, who's 5th. So this should be a top 5 run.
She gets up near 102 high out of the exit of Kreisel. Watch out here. She was really flying in training. Won the Swiss Championships here 2 weeks ago. On the wrong side of Horseshoe, though. The entrance to Horseshoe. 27. 102.6. Not the 102.9.
7th place on the splits from 11th at the start.
The firecracker.
Up to 5th.
An electrical engineer. You should see the lecture she gave me on runners the other night. 36, 140, only
Top
3
5.
teams.
Ahead of Misha McNeil at the moment. Will she be in front of the British sled? She is.
Wow.
By a big margin, and in fact, she's only 500ths off 4th. She's only 700ths off bronze.
Watch this. Watch this. Come on, ladies. There's a reason they call her the firecracker. And it's not because she's an electrical engineer. She has a lot of personality. Best heat of her career since she retired. She retired in 10, 4 years off to become an electrical engineer. She's back. And now we got another story.
Yeah. Jamaica and Jasmine Fenlater with Carrie Russell, world champion 4x100 in Moscow in 2013, the sprinter turned bobsledder. Sandra Kiriasis behind, who has won multiple medals on this track. Sandra won 5 times in 6 years.
Look at her foot back. Most people have both feet on the blocks. Her foot was way back, just a different technique. Carrie Russell, the 4x100 Jamaican champion at the Moscow track and field event. On her back, 68, not bad. Velocity, 55.1. That's sprinter's velocity getting in the sled. That's excellent. That's the last step where the brakeman gets into the sled. Now Jasmine, who finished 11th at the Sochi Games, says USA 3. 87.6 kilometers an hour there. That's pretty good.
And right now, it looks as though the Jamaican girls have earned themselves a spot in the Olympics. Great height. Oh, she landed it nicely as well. 3,300 back.
Well off the pace for speed.
10th place.
That's probably where she's going to finish up. 10 to 12th.
Using a BTC Latvia sled, the same as Kaylee Humphries, the same as Elfie Willemsen, and a whole bunch of the others.
Name of the sled's Cool Boat.
Top
cool
10 run from Jasmine Fenlater Victorian. First time in St. Moritz in 3 or 4 seasons. Ducks ahead. Right, lost a little bit of speed at the bottom now. The sled may be the same, but the runners probably aren't quite what everybody else might have.
Late in the heat, should have been better than that. I don't think her height in Horseshoe was correct, and then a little mistake down below.
But currently, in the single nations, they are 3rd behind Great Britain and Switzerland.
Usually, if you're going to hit the lip like the Germans did, Jamaica was way back up in the middle. Then this causes her to come out a little too early on the 13 to, or excuse me, Horseshoe into telephone. So easy to critique it from here. But there's a lot of telltale signs.
20 sleds down, the race is full. It's Alana Myers-Taylor who is our current leader.
Boy, there's stories within stories all over the place. Races within races, including this sled here.
3 to go, and Anne van Nieuwenhausen and Sophie Verkrijzen need a good run to break into the field. At the bottom is Konomi Azazu of Japan. They'll have to bump her out to get in.
So, way off the pace at the start. Velocity, 54.4, that's way down. Well, like her teammate, she can drive. 4th place finish in Altenburg last year. This year, nowhere near that. But she has also got good eyes and hands.
And she has qualified Belgium for 2 sleds in the games. They'll be one of the 4 nations that take 2 sleds.
Really up high. See if she gets away with it. 101.5, not a very good speed. Similar to Jasmine Fenelator, who just came down, and now we're talking about making the field. She's late there, really high there.
Well, she's in at the moment in 15th position. She'll be in, and Konomi Asasu of Japan will be out.
Expected more out of this sled. 138.6, 86 miles an hour.
16th, 17th at the line between Russia and Germany. 16th between Jamie Grubel-Poser and Alexandra Rodionova.
Thought she'd do better than that.
Well, she's in the field, and out goes the Japanese Konomi Asasu. So Asasu with the deficit of starting second.
Yeah, that's a serious bad trump card.
And at the bottom of the pile now is Romania's Andrea Grecu, and the irony won't be lost on their coach Paul Niago that the next sled is Romanian. Well, good height there.
Does she hit before the take-on?
Just a little early.
Yeah, she was a little early there.
Maybe a foot.
I like that line, but watch it with the sled get away from her here. She's late. Watch how high she gets. She's up there where no other sleds are, up in the frost.
Yeah.
She knows it.
Well, she's in the race at the moment, and she will make the field because she's 16th out of 20. But on the bubble, it will either be Andrea Grecu or Maria Constantin. Not unless there's a dead heat. The two Romanians can't both be in the race. And Maria Constantin is the more experienced of the two, plus she's got faster ice to deal with.
There's a good chance this Romanian team will not qualify in the top 20 for points. There's been a lot of discussion about it.
Yeah, she's kind of on the outside looking in at the moment, needs something to go in her favor.
A great result here would improve the argument. Start is way off.
Well, 19th at the start. Her teammate started 5:73. She started 5:76. So she's a little behind. It's not about where she is compared to Ilana Myers at the moment. It's where she is compared to her teammate Andrea Grecu. And at the moment, she's in front of Grecu in 18th on the split time. So she's in the race and Grecu is out.
She's really high. Look how high her head is above the talon. Can't believe Paul Niago hasn't corrected that.
Well, by this stage, this is how she's learned to drive. That's how she's going to drive.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it gives you the confidence, then it's worth losing the 100th or two in airflow. 6200s back 13th. Up to 13th. It's a good run.
Of it. She's a good driver. She drives four-mans when they give her the chance.
Yeah.
Good driver.
139.6, decent speed, top 10 run. Well, that's exactly what Maria Constantin wanted to produce. 108.63.
Be happy with that.
Yeah.
Come on, Paul.
Well, it's mixed emotions for the coach because Maria's had a great run, but unfortunately it means that Andrea Grecu won't be in the second heat.
Yeah. Well, I think they're looking at one sled to qualify for the games. She needed a top 8 run like this. It's all about points now. This didn't help. This is Dak probably in the exit of Devil's Dyke. Look at Paul. Ooh, Paul. That could have given her, she's an 8th. To tie for 9th, she's an 8th. She's 100th ahead of Humphreys and Sarajevo. She's 100th ahead of Kaylee Humphreys, the Romanian girl.
Listen, she's only 30 points behind Jasmine Fenelator Victorian of Jamaica as well. If they finish the way they are, she's going to clear Jamaica easily and move right up into 3rd spot in the single nations. And that could be huge.
That could be huge.
Okay, final sled, Martina Fonteneva. Oh yeah, she's Swiss on her home track. Now she could be a big threat as well, and on the bubble, Maria Oshigiri of Japan is likely not to make the second heat.
That's a great start time.
That is a good start
there.
time.
Her brakeman, Strebel, I heard last night they had a press conference, and it was the first time that Fonteneva, ooh, and Strebel, and there's, you know, cameras and lights, and our press officer here said they were pretty nervous.
Well, you would be, wouldn't you? Deer in the headlights,
yeah. Seen it, yeah.
The whole Swiss team, bobsled skeleton, everybody with all the media.
That's great start time, though.
Yeah.
Very impressed with that.
And 7th at the moment, by the way.
Coming late, Swiss track. She's got a lot of trips down it.
Well, you say that, but only since Christmas.
Unbelievable speed.
102.9,
this is going to get up to top 5. Her teammate Hafner's in 5th now.
This is challenging Sabina Hafner.
This is right after Hafner's number. This could be
now
top 4.
She is in 5th place, ahead of Sabina Hafner.
Whoa!
Great run from Martina Fonteneva, 139.9, 86.9 miles an hour, top 4. Fifth at the line.
Hafner, and it's a race within a race, 200s apart.
That's a great run from Martina Fonteneva. She used the late ice superbly. But, John, you could give it to me and
I'm impressed.
You know,
I'm impressed with this.
That's a really good run.
For start time, 9th best start. Hafner had the 12th best start, but Swiss women's bobsledding has been a little out in the woods the last quadrennial. Look at the brakeman. Didn't get in with a perfect entry. This is a little bit of drift here that probably cost her 400 or 500.
She's got things to tidy up for the second heat. And yet, she is within 500s of bronze, held by Alicia Rissling.
I think this might be her. Well, no, Arena competed last week. Here's the story of the day. Look at those low feet of Lolo Jones.
That low heel action.
Low heel action. That's that hurdler stuff.
She's trained herself to be a bobsled break woman par excellence. Alana Myers-Taylor, Lolo Jones, the leaders. Alana has won the last 2 seasons here. In fact, she took a silver medal in the bronze, braked by Katie Eberling in 2013 behind Kaylee Humphries. Mariama Yamanka lies second, and Alicia Rissling lies third. But look at the gap, 31, 33, 36, 38. There's a very close battle for the bronze medals.
Closer than you think.
And between Alicia Rissling, 3100s back, and Brittany Reinbold, who is 7900s back, 0.4 of a second. But Reinbold's battle is with Christina de Bruyne, who is 3 spots behind her
to go to the Olympic Games.
That's for the 3rd sled for their nation, and they will drive it.
Unbelievable drama in this heat coming up.
Jamie Grubel-Poser down in 17th place. Goodness. Well, there's an awful lot to talk about in the first heat, even more in the second. Join us when the sleds come back on ice, and that will be at 11 o'clock local time, 10 Greenwich Mean Time. Until then, it's Auf Wiedersehen from St. Moritz. We'll see you in just over half an hour.